Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. I am the Deputy Mayor, Councillor J. Papalia. I declare this meeting open at 7:01 p.m. I would like to welcome members of the public who have joined us in the chamber tonight. Members of the public attending council and committee meetings are expected to behave respectfully at all times and not permitted to engage with councillors or council officers during the course of the meeting. All persons present tonight have a right to be safe and treated with respect. In the unlikely event of an emergency, please follow the direction of council officers and the emergency procedures on the wall near the door. I would like to note I have given approval for Channel 31 to live stream tonight's meeting. A recording of the meeting will be published on the council's website. Item 1, can I please ask all to stand for the acknowledgement of country? On behalf of Brimbank City Council, I respectfully acknowledge and recognise the Wurundjeri and Bunurong people as the traditional owners of this land and pay respects to elders past, present and emerging. Can I please ask councillors to remain standing for the councillor commitment? Others may be seated. As the council, we will act in the best interest of the Brimbank community and consider the immediate and long-term impacts of our decisions. We will make these decisions fairly and without bias. We will uphold all our obligations under the laws of Victoria and Council's local laws and will act in the accordance with our code of conduct. Councillors, please be seated. Item 3, apologies and leave of absence. We have an apology tonight from Councillor Lancashire and we have a leave of absence from Councillor Rasic. Item 4, disclosures of conflicts of interest. Councillors, do we have any conflicts of interest to declare? No, thank you. Item 5, designation of items as confidential. May I have a mover of a motion to designate item as confidential? Councillor Nguyen.
Hello, Madam Chair. I would like to move the items on the shared screen as confidential.
Thank you.
Second the motion, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor David. All in favour? Motion is carried. Thank you. Item 6, confirmation of minutes of previous meeting. May I have a mover to move the minutes of the previous meeting? Councillor Borg.
I confirm. I would like to move the motion about to confirm the minutes of the previous meeting.
Thank you. Seconder. Councillor O'Reilly.
I'd like to second the motion as per the shared screen.
Thank you. All in favour? Thank you. That motion's carried. Item 7, there are no items for condolences this evening. Item 8, congratulations. We have 2 items of congratulations this evening. 8.1, Kill or View, Voice, Interests and Education for Women. May I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Borg.
I'll move the motion as per shared screen.
Thank you. May I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Dang.
I seconded, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Borg, would you like to speak to that motion?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. I would like to congratulate the Keilor View on their 30th anniversary. This group of women highly value the interests and education of women as well as giving them a voice. Indeed, the club currently sponsors 8 students on the Smith Family Learning for Life program, assists with one of the local schools' breakfast club, supplies stationery and other educational materials for distribution for our local schools, and continues to raise money for the many initiatives of the family Smith. 6 local primary schools in Brimbank are benefiting from the Keilor View's contributions. As such, it sets a good precedence to other community groups to help in the education of women, more specifically primary school girls in our municipality. I would like to take this opportunity to thank the women of this club for their sterling contribution to the community in Brimbank for these last 30 years. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Borg. Councillor Dang, would you like to speak to this motion?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I echo Councillor Board and congratulate the Killer View for their contribution to the Brimbank community. Well done, all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dang. Anyone else like to speak to this motion? Put the motion to vote. All in favour? Thank you. Motion is carried. I will move to 8.2, Derrimut Fire Response. May I have a mover for the motion? Councillor Tarkos.
I move the motion as per business papers. Thank you.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Thank you, Councillor Dang.
I second it, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Tarkos, would you like to speak to that motion?
Thank you for that. Firstly, I wanted to thank all the first responders and the agencies that supported the effort of this disaster last week. Fire Rescue Victoria, and that includes CFA, Aviation Rescue, and CFA Firefighting Service, Victoria Police, Ambulance Victoria, SES, VIXES, EPA, Melbourne Water, WorkSafe, local government, Brimbank Council, who are still there, I believe, involved, Salvation Army. Thank you to all of you for tackling a complex and dangerous environment and fire with lots of hazards and over such a tricky time as well. This was a massive and well-coordinated team effort to bring this devastating incident under control. It's a mammoth task. Thank you for keeping us safe. And to our community who have been impacted, I hope you are also okay and getting the necessary support that you need. As the investigation will obviously continue, so does the heightened concerns of our community, the anxiety they may experience during a toxic fire such as this. Please exercise self-care and caution, particularly with exposure to odours, and ensure, as the EPA has said, that your pets are not in the water downstream of the fire location until further notice. And I believe we're sharing some numbers on this screen for people that may need some help.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Councillor Dang, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to all the firefighters, paramedic, environment group, police, SES, and all the agencies who responded swiftly and bravely. Your tireless work through the day and night ensured the flames were contained and danger minimized. Finally, a heartfelt thanks go out to the volunteers and support group who have emerged to help those affected. Your compassion and generosity in this time of need are truly inspiring. The Derrimut fire was the stark reminder of challenges we can face, but it all highlighted the incredible strength and resilience of our community. Thanks again to the outstanding work of all involved.
Thank you, Councillor Dang. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion?
Thank
No.
you, Madam Mayor. Just briefly, I do congratulate all concerned in reference to putting that terrible fire down. I went the same day there, just like other curious people, but police was there and turned everybody back, of course. And I went again the next day. You can see the ashes still, the smoke were coming out of it. And the guy I spoke to, he says he was there watching a 40-gallon drum.
Yeah.
Thank you. 40-gallon drum to that he was just shotting out of the, and of course the concrete walls pulling down. It was terrible, heavy, big black smoke. Yeah, well done to all those people, volunteers, etc. That I hope we never see that again. It was.
Thank you, Councillor David. Would any other councillor like to speak to this? Thank you. I put the motion to vote. All in favour? Thank you. That motion is carried. The next item for this evening is for the suspension of standing orders. May I have a mover of a motion to suspend standing orders for the hearing of apologies by Councillor Maria Kerr and Councillor Virginia Tarkos in accordance with the Councillor Code of Conduct arbitration decisions and statements of reasons tabled at the last council meeting, and an apology from Council to the community in regard to recent governance issues. Thank you. I'll hand to Councillor Tarkos. Sorry, may I have a mover of the motion? Thank you, Councillor Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to move the motion as per shared screen to
Thank-
suspend standing order.
Thank you. Seconder,
Second.
Councillor Borg.
I'll second that, Madam Deputy Chair.
Thank you. All in favour? That motion is carried. I will now hand to Councillor Tarkos. Thank you.
I would like to make a statement regarding the arbiter Miss Sarah Fowler's directions. Firstly, let me thank Miss Sarah Fowler for the way she conducted the hearing. I was very deeply distressed in November 2023 for what was occurring. But now, looking back, I appreciate I should have handled things differently. I would like to make a formal, unreserved apology to the CEO, to councillors, to officers and the executive for the comments that have offended you and brought any discredit to this council. I take my role as a Brimbank councillor very seriously, and I look forward to undertaking the relevant training to enhance my ability to serve the people of Brimbank better. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Councillor Kerr.
Okay, pursuant to section 1472A of the Act, I have been directed by the Arbiter Meredith Gibbs to apologise. Please note, for all the below apologies, they are unreserved, and the ruling is that I engaged in misconduct and as per the relevant sections of the Act that have been published in previous meetings' agenda. In relation to the 17th of November allegations, A, I offer my unreserved apology for engaging in misconduct to all my fellow councillors for the disrespect I showed during the 17 November 23 council meeting by making inappropriate comments and failing to show courtesy and respect. Item B, I offer my unreserved apology for engaging in misconduct to the CEO, Ms. Fiona Blair, for speaking to her loudly and aggressively on the night of 17 November 23 and failing to show her courtesy and respect. In relation to the 17th of October allegations, item C, I offer my unreserved apology for engaging in misconduct to all my fellow councillors for the disrespect and lack of courtesy, especially to Councillor Rasic, Lancashire and other councillors during the October 17 meeting, and for all my discourteous and disruptive behaviour in leaving the 17th October meeting while it was still in progress as I was suffering an anxiety attack. Allegations relating to email and use of social media, item D. I offer my unreserved apology for engaging in misconduct to all my fellow councillors for the discourteous, disrespectful and offensive comments on my Facebook page on the 17th of October, on my Facebook page on the 18th of October, on my Facebook page on the 19th of October, on my Facebook page on the 27th of November, and the Keilor Downs Residents fan page on the 16th of December. And last but not least, item E, I offer my unreserved apology for engaging in misconduct to Councillor Branton for the disrespectful and offensive comments on my Facebook page posted on the 18th of October, suggesting that Councillor Branton had not really represented the Grasslands ward. And finally, I'd just like to say, God bless Brimbank Council.
Thank you, Councillor Kerr. And thank you, Councillor Tarkos. I would like to read a statement from our council group. Municipal monitors were appointed to Brimbank City Council from the 12th of February to the 31st of December 2024 and have been working closely with councillors and the extended leadership team. We acknowledge their presence and the reasons for their appointment, which stem from the need to improve our collective performance and to ensure the well-being of all involved. As your elective councillors, we recognise we have not worked effectively together as we have in the past. on occasion, our interactions have impacted the governance of Brimbank City Council, as well as the health and well-being of our dedicated staff, our CEO, and fellow councillors. We wish to sincerely apologise and acknowledge the effect it has had on the council and the community's trust in us. We understand the gravity of the concerns raised by the community, and we take them seriously. We have been working together to address the concerns expressed in a letter from the Minister for Local Government, the Honourable Melissa Horn, in relation to governance matters at Brimbank Council. At the council meeting on the 18th of June, we developed a 10-point plan as requested by the Minister to support good governance. This plan is a crucial step in our commitment to improving the way we work together and to enhancing the performance of the council group. Councillors have always been committed to serving the community to the best of our abilities. As a council group, we have already been working together more collaboratively to enhance our effectiveness and to better serve the community. We are committed to continuing this effort, to listening to the community's concerns, and to making necessary changes to restore confidence in our governance. Thank you. Okay, I would now like to call a motion that the standing orders be resumed. May I have a mover? Councillor Nguyen.
Madam Chair, I would like for the council to resume standing orders. Thank you. I'll move that motion.
Thank you. Seconder, Councillor
Second,
David. Thank you.
Madam Deputy, yes.
Okay, all in favour? Please raise your hand. That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, item 10. We're now moving on to public question time. Mr. Balava, I understand we have received questions from the members of the public tonight.
Yes, thank you, Madam Mayor. We have several questions tonight. In accordance with the governance rules of the Council, and in the interest of time, I would like to note that the preamble to some questions will not be read out, but will appear in the minutes of the meeting. Additionally, the rules allow for 2 questions per person. Third questions will not be read. Our first question is from Rachel Hayes, who asks, I would like to know when the construction of the enclosed dog park at Delahaye is going to start.
The Delahaye Dog Park is scheduled to be delivered in 24-25. Officers will commence procurement for the project in August of 2024 and hope to appoint a contractor for works to commence in February 2025. All going well, the project is expected to be completed by May 2025.
Felina Pistillo has asked, the EPA have recently received a development license application from Stolthaven Coode Island Pty Ltd, which proposes the establishment of a tank container terminal for dangerous goods on Mackenzie Road, West Melbourne. Could you please confirm if the Brimbank Council is aware of this application and the potential risks it poses to our community?
We are aware of the proposal through the Engage Victoria website and encourage the EPA, who are the relevant authority, to ensure they consider all of the potential consequences before determining the development licence application.
Graham Bohr asks, can the Mayor or the CEO explain why the Brimbank Council gift register has only 7 entries, which all date back to 2021, 3 years ago, and why the biennial personal interest return is also 2 years out of date?
Firstly, we thank you for bringing this to our attention. This is as a result of a website upgrade and a glitch that resulted in some document links reverting to old links, which has now been rectified.
Graham also asked, given the high levels of youth unemployment in Brimbank and the violent youth crime increase, has the Mayor raised these issues with the local MP and Minister of Youth, Natalie Suleiman, in the last 6 months, and if not, why?
Unemployment, especially youth unemployment, is a key advocacy priority for us, and this is outlined in our 2023 to 2025 advocacy plan. Our successive mayors have regularly discussed this and crime prevention with parliamentarians, including the Honourable Natalie Suleiman MP, with another meeting scheduled next month.
Lerma Blore asks, ratepayers recently saw online that the Mayor, CEO and Councillors Tui Dang and Sam David attended the National LGA Conference in Canberra. Why was it necessary to have 4 attendees from Brimbank Council, and what was the total cost and benefits to ratepayers?
Attendance at the ALGA National General Assembly in Canberra allows Council to submit motions for increased funding for major highways and unemployment alleviation, which were all endorsed. As a result, ALGA will be calling on the Australian Government to increase its level of funding for major highways and to alleviate unemployment by further increases to job seeker and youth allowance, and by establishing an economic inclusion fund to create local jobs for local people. The Brimbank delegation also met with federal parliamentarians from major parties to discuss our major advocacy priorities, which include the Calder Freeway, unemployment, Melbourne Airport's third runway, and the Melbourne Airport rail link ahead of next year's federal election. The costs amounted to approximately $3,100 per person, which included accommodation, travel, and conference expenses.
Lerma Bloor has also asked another question which has previously been asked, and in accordance with Governance Rule 55.11.3, this question has been disallowed. We'll now move on to a question from Bobby Coronius. Before we move on to those questions, the next set of questions relate to Brimbank Green Wedge Management Plan report. Given that a number of like questions have been asked in relation to the report, similar questions have been grouped and will be answered together. Full questions will be available in the minutes of the meeting. Bobby asks, and a similar question was also asked by Milka Jankovic and Maria Jankovic. Why does Brimbank Council claim that the BGWMP adopts a collaborative approach when council have written to landowners to advise it will no longer engage the landowners in relation to the failed, non-supported by Brimbank Council BGWMP that has achieved nothing for the Keilor North non-urban land area for the 14 years since its adoption?
The Council report says that the BGWMP adopts a collaborative approach involving partnerships with internal and external stakeholders to implement actions and ongoing activities to achieve the stated long-term objectives. Many stakeholders are mentioned in the BGWMP implementation status report, which demonstrates the collaborative approach being undertaken. Council continues to engage with landowners. However, where there are repetitive matters raised to the same issue and multiple responses have already been provided, Council has indicated that it won't provide further responses unless new information has been provided.
Bobby has also asked, and a similar question has been asked by Novak Jankovic, why after 14 years since the adoption of the BGWMP and the former agriculture community has since died under the BGWMP, does Brimbank Council not recognise that the plan has been a complete failure for the Keilor North farming community and seek to review it with the intention of improving the area?
The BGWMP recognises several key challenges, including a lack of access to a sustainable and affordable water supply, the marginal status of horticulture, and the need for funding implementation and coordination across government and the community. This has been the subject of several submissions by Council to the state government. Despite these known challenges, Council continues to implement the BGWMP and acknowledges that the BGWMP is also about the rural atmosphere, a rich biodiversity, cultural heritage, and the scenic landscape.
Lauren Pateras, with similar questions from Maria Jankovic, have asked, how can Council consider the overarching strategy guidance of the BGWMP remains relevant for the environmental management and ongoing advocacy when Council have allowed landowners in the Keilor North to be banned from meetings with Melbourne Airport, EPA, Brimbank Council in relation to PFAS and Brimbank Council's only advocacy in relation to the environmental damage and the pollution from the Somerset Quarry was one letter to Hume Council sometime in 2022 noting that the BGWMP has been adopted for 14 years.
Many meetings over a number of years were held in relation to PFAS, where representatives from the EPA, Melbourne Airport Council, and community all attended. While there is no knowledge of landowners being banned, a number of meetings had stakeholder representatives attending and therefore were not public meetings. Council officers continue to regularly engage with the EPA and Melbourne Airport at an officer level about a range of matters, including PFAS. Council also continues to advocate about the appropriate management of Somerset Quarry and attending a meeting involving Resource Victoria about the site as recently as last week.
Lauren has also asked, with a similar question from Maria Yankovic, why has Brimbank Council claimed successful and ongoing environmental management and weed eradication of weeds such as serrated tussock when there continues to be environmental damage and pollution from Somerset Quarry, because the advocacy by Brimbank Council has been extremely minimal, and also that serrated tussock is evident in many parts of Keilor North area?
An annual program of weed control is conducted in 4 council conservation sites in the Green Wedge, covering an area of 214 hectares. Council is also a key partner in regional weed control activities, such as the Maribyrnong Valley Connection Project. Council is aware that there are private land holdings where serrated tussock continues to be a problem, and we offer sustainable land management grants to help landowners undertake weed control. We also advocate strongly for improved biodiversity protection and environmental management for land managed by others in the Green Wedge, including regular advocacy regarding Somerset Quarry, which is outside of the Brimbank City Council, to the EPA and Hume City Council.
Urania Koronius has asked, with a similar question from Novak Yankovic, why does Brimbank Council advocate for continued agriculture given that 14 years have passed since the adoption of the BGWMP and there is limited farming as noted by Council, and in effect the BGWMP has failed for the Keilor North non-urban land area?
Council has advocated to the state government about a range of matters. However, in relation to farming, it has identified that agricultural land is constrained and that support is required to identify viable economic development opportunities, including funding and support for ongoing agricultural uses that are sustainable, innovative, productive, and viable.
Urania has also asked, why has Brimbank Council failed to take steps to stop businesses that operate in the Keilor North area in contravention to the planning policy and Green Wedge zoning, and as an action within the failed BGWMP in the 14 years since adoption?
Council officers have investigated all reports of businesses allegedly operating in contravention of the Brimbank planning scheme in the Keilor North area and have taken the appropriate action to bring these sites into compliance where they have been found to be operating illegally.
Novak Yankovic has asked, why has Brimbank Council failed to review the BGWMP every 4 years as required, and 14 years have passed and the Keilor North agriculture area is barely existent?
While Council continues to implement the BGWMP, it hasn't sufficient resourcing to review it on a 4-yearly basis. However, in the reports provided to Council in the past 2 years, advice has been that the overarching strategic guidance remains relevant. Council continue to implement the objectives of the BGWMP through consistent application of Green Wedge policy in relation to land use planning, environmental management, and ongoing advocacy.
Madam Deputy Mayor, there are no further questions, noting that like questions have been grouped together in those responses.
Thank you, Mr. Balava. Item 11, there are no petitions to be received this evening. Item 12, there are no minutes or reports of delegated committees this evening. We're going on to item 13, which is officer reports. We have 12 officer reports for consideration by the Council tonight. If you have alternate or amended motions this evening, you must draft these motions and provide to the governance team via email so they may be shared on screen and form part of the meeting. Otherwise, we may have to defer the matter until the motion has been written, allowing the meeting to proceed uninterrupted. Thank you. Our first officer report for tonight is item 12.1, planning activity update and delegate decisions and planning scheme amendments updates June 2024. I would like to ask the Director, Mr. Calvin Walsh, to present this report.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is to provide Council with information on the status of planning permit applications and trends in planning approvals in Brimbank and decisions made under delegated authority in June, and the status of current planning scheme amendments as at the 30th of June of this year. Officers recommend that Council notes the planning activity update and delegated decisions report and the decisions made which are included at attachment 1, and note the planning scheme amendment summary at June 30th, which is at attachment 3. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Councillors, do we have any questions for the Director? No. May I have a mover of the motion? Councillor Borg.
I'll move the motion as per business papers.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Do I have a seconder for this motion? Councillor Nguyen.
Madam Chair, I'd like to second the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Borg, would you like to speak to the motion?
Yes, thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I just want to note that at the end of this period, there were 4 appeals lodged with VCAT that have not been determined yet. This is 9 less than at the same time at the end of June 2023. This does reflect that council officers are working very hard with developers and vice versa. Important to note also that the amendment C225 BRIM planning policy framework has been approved by the minister. And this has been long coming, but it has finally happened. And also the amendment C239 BRIM, Housing and Neighbourhood Character Strategy 2024, has been endorsed by Council at the June meeting. And this will be seeking authorization from the Minister. I commend this report to Council.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Councillor Nguyen? Nope. It's fine. Would any other councillor like to speak to the report? If not, I'll put the motion to vote. All in favour? Thank you. That motion is carried. We'll move to 12.2, which is planning compliance activity update from the 1st of April to the 30th of June 2024. Mr. Walsh, I'll invite you to present this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The purpose of this report is to provide Council the planning compliance activity update for the period you mentioned, and officers recommend that Council notes this activity report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Councillors, are there any questions? No. May I have a mover of the motion? Thank you, Councillor Branton.
I move the motion as per screen.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor David?
David.
Thank you. Councillor Branton, would you like to speak to this?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor David?
No, Madam.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this motion? If not, all in favour, please. Yep. That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, we'll go to 12.3, which is a planning application P4752023 for 8 Rawson Avenue in Sunshine. Mr. Walsh, I'll invite you to present that report. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider the planning application P475/2023, which relate to alterations to the existing dwelling and construction of 2 additional dwellings to the rear of 8 Rawson Avenue, Sunshine. And this is following an assessment against the provisions of the Brimbank planning scheme. Officers recommend the Council issue a notice of decision to grant a planning permit for the proposed development, subject to a range of conditions which are included at attachment 5 to this report. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Councillors, do we have any questions for the Director? No. May I have a mover of a motion? Thank you, Councillor Tarkos.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to move a motion to defer this planning application, 2022/223 to the following council meeting. Thank you. In August.
Thank you. Will we bring that one up on screen?
Second, Madam
Thank you. I
Deputy.
have a
Thank
seconder,
you.
Councillor David. Thank you. All in favour? Sorry, Councillor Tarkos, would you like to speak to that motion? Thanks.
Madam Deputy Mayor, as many others, I attended the planning forum in which we heard both objectors and the developer. The plan is for alterations to the existing dwelling and construction of 2 double-storey dwellings at the rear. With the forum, I guess the issues in the objection side was that the smaller coal ball or the cul-de-sac would not be able to cope. There was also the Lorraine Street parking traffic issue, waste bins and storage collection management issue, amenity issues, and also there was a gentleman with a disability saying that it was also a breach of his human rights in terms of accessibility. So what was being offered was that the residents at their expense wanted to do an independent traffic management plan, and in order for that to happen, we would need to receive it, but also the developer would need to receive it and assess it. And so to give that time, then that's why I'm now asking for this deferral. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Councillor David, did you have anything you'd like to say about this one?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. I visited the site today, and it is a bit of it's a short sort of an area. The residents there, they don't have to park in the streets, as they say. But if they have visitors as such, it'd be a very congested type of way. And I understand that the builder will try and get his own engineer to try and look at it. So I did second again the motion in deferring it, and I think it's the best way as opposed to try and see if we can come up with a happy medium on that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor David. Would anybody else like to speak for this motion, to this motion? No, I put the motion on screen to vote. All in favour? That motion is carried. Okay, we're going to go to item 12.4, which is the submission to Albion Quarter structure plan discussion paper. Mr. Kelvin Walsh.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider endorsing the Brimbank City Council's draft submission to the Department of Transport and Planning's Albion Quarter discussion paper. Officers recommend that Council notes the discussion paper from the State Government, which is at Attachment 1, endorses the Council submission, which is at Attachment 2, which would enable us to submit it to the Department of Transport and Planning process, notes that the Victorian Government has announced infrastructure investment changes in the May state budget that impacts the Sunshine Precinct, and that Council will continue to advocate for infrastructure investment in line with our advocacy plan, and also that Council officers recommend that we provide a copy of the submission to the local MPs. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walsh. Councillors, do you have any questions for the Director? No. May I have a mover of the motion? Councillor Nguyen.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move the motion as per shared screen.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Borg.
I'll second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nguyen, would you like to speak to the motion?
Most definitely. Thank you, Madam Chair. Fellow councillors, I'm pleased to encourage you to endorse the motion for the Brimbank submission to the Albion Quarter Structure Plan discussion paper. This submission by Council is a vital step in guiding the transformation of the Albion Quarter, aligning with our strategic vision for the Sunshine Precinct. The discussion paper, which was prepared by the Department of Transport and Planning, offers a comprehensive framework to reimagine Albion's future. It emphasises job creation, infrastructure investment, and the development of a high-amenity connected urban environment. Our submission reflects these priorities and underscores the importance of the timely delivery of key infrastructure projects such as the Melbourne Airport Rail. The need for an Albion Quarter structure plan is evident. And while it's great that the other parts of Sunshine Precinct has begun to change for urban renewal, the land around Albion Station still has to. This has driven a need for greater planning certainty and direction to ensure Albion doesn't get left behind in the broader transformation of the precinct. Moreover, the Victorian government's budget recently changes that highlight the need, an urgent need, for the continued advocacy to ensure that Albion and the broader Sunshine precinct receives the necessary investments to thrive. And our draft submission, shaped by community feedback, is aligned with our council policies and sets a foundation for this progress. So I urge all councillors to support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nguyen. Councillor Borg, would you like to speak to this motion?
Just briefly, Madam Mayor, Brimbank Council has been working very closely with the Department of Transport and key stakeholders on this structure plan since 2021, ensuring that both councils and community priorities are considered. The submission is quite comprehensive. It takes into account a number of things, including, but not limited to, key infrastructure projects, the Melbourne Airport railing and the Western Rail Plan. The greater regard to how Albion Quarter plays a contributing role in the development of the broader Sunshine Precinct and beyond, as well as prioritization to job creation, and prioritization of the consideration of high amenity, walkable, and connected urban environment, and so many other matters. I want to take this opportunity to thank the staff for such a great submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Would anybody else like to speak to this motion? Councillor Riley?
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. Move this closer to me. I agree with what Councillor Nguyen and Councillor Borg have said. The draft submission focuses on matters of greatest impact and importance to Council and community to inform the next phase of the development of the structure plan, in particular looking at delivering key infrastructure projects, particularly the Melbourne Airport Rail Link. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Would anybody else like to speak to this motion? Councillor Tarkos.
I'd also like to commend this particular paper, but in particular the Albion Quarter South, where we've got the Stony Creek revitalisation that we've been doing continuous tree planting and also activation of parks, provides real potential for greening that area, that particular pocket, and also cooling it down, which a lot of this area tends to be industrialised. Now with the commitment of the Melbourne Airport Rail Link, there's, I think, a lot more positive opportunity heading our way for this project to be, if not completed, improved. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Do we have any other councillors that wish to speak to this item? No? Okay, I put this to vote. All in favour? Please. Thank you. That motion is carried. Okay, we're going to item 12.5, Activity Centre Strategy Implementation Status 2024 with Mr. Walsh. If you'd like to speak to this item, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to consider the draft Activity Centre Strategy Implementation Status Report, which is included at Attachment 1, and officers recommend that Council notes the report. Thank you.
Thank you, councillors. Any questions for Mr. Walsh? Okay, may I have a mover of a motion? Councillor Branton.
I move the motion as per screen.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Borg.
I'll second that, Madam Mayor, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Branton, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Borg.
No, thank you.
Great. Would anybody else like to speak to this item? Okay, I'll put it to vote. All in favour? That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to item 12.6, which is the Brimbank Green Wedge Management Plan Implementation Status for June 2024. Again with Mr. Walsh, if you'd like to present your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The purpose of this report is for Council to receive and consider the Green Wedge Management Plan Implementation Status Report at Attachment 1, and officers recommend that the Council notes the report. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Do we have any questions, councillors? Nope. Yep. Did you want to put your mic on?
Yes, sorry. Can I ask? I was going through the report and I couldn't find a section where it stated what the next plan is when we decide whether or not we do need to conduct a more thorough report. Is there a section in the papers that I missed?
Well, this plan has not finished yet, so
Right.
the current plan, through you, Madam Chair, the current plan still has a number of years to run, and then at that point, at that point, Council would determine and make a decision about the next steps. That would also be informed by the state government's views on the best strategy approach to green wedges to make it consistent with a metropolitan and statewide approach.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, councillors? May I have a mover of a motion? Councillor Tarkos.
I move the motion as per the business papers. I can't talk today. Business papers. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Do I have a seconder? Councillor David.
Second, Madam Deputy Mayor, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tarkos, if you'd like to speak
Thank
to the
you.
motion.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to say note this report and the fact that it is over a 20-year period, and it's got long-term objectives for the Brimbank portion of the Sunbury Green Wedge. The status report lists the 96 actions so far in the face of what are very complex and many challenges facing our green wedge, which is not exclusive to lack of access to sustainable and affordable water supply, the difficulty in sustaining horticulture, and the need for greater funding that still has yet to be delivered from the state government, and environmental hazards and threats such as serrated tussock, rabbit control, and issues such as the compliance of the Somerset Quarry. Our advocacy to state government is not that it provides more opportunities to explore the viability and agriculture and other uses of this land as well. I know that Keilor has got a very rich history that's embedded in farming and horticulture, which is something that we're really proud of. But with the challenges we're facing at the moment with the water, we also have PFAS issues, and it is getting, sadly, the component of people farming is shrinking, and it's going because it's got minimal levels because of the increasing challenges. I really look forward to the state government's guidance once released on how councils and other stakeholders will improve the management of Melbourne's green wedge, and working with our green wedge residents to find better ways to improve and use this green wedge land. I also attended the meeting last week run by Resources Victoria regarding the Somerset Quarry. The meeting was it was a very well attended meeting. It was very reflective of both from the Hume side and the Brimbank side, the continuous pollution in the form of dust, sludge, silica, and also the disastrous and worrying height of this quarry and rapidly disappearing horizon on both sides. And I am so glad this meeting was organised so that the residents have got a chance to finally express what has been a situation that hasn't been managed well. I heard the questions and the frustrations of the residents, and council were there representing, and so were a lot of residents from Brimbank. And I thought that it was a very productive session, and I feel almost really hopeful that finally Resources Victoria are taking this matter seriously. So we continue to work for the positive benefits. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Tarkos. Councillor David, did you Did you want
Yes,
to
just
speak?
to say, I think Councillor Douglas covered the whole area, and indeed, that's a very good report put before us, and I hope that God in the near future something comes out of this.
Yep.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor David. Would any other councillor like to speak to this motion? Okay, I put the motion to vote. All in favour? Thank you. That motion is carried. Okay, we're going to item 12.7, which is our governance report for July 2024 with Ms. Georgie Hill. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. The governance report is a standing monthly report to Council. In this month's report, Council is asked to consider matters related to recent governance activity. Council is recommended to note contracts entered into and works orders approved in accordance with the S7 instrument of subdelegation, councillor declarations of representations by members of Parliament, records of informal meetings of councillors, the minutes of the Audit and Risk Committee meeting held on the 7th of May 2024, minor changes to the Brimbank Housing and Neighbourhood Character Strategy 2024 and endorse the revised strategy. In addition, Council is recommended to note the outcomes of the expression of interest for the Glen Gala Traffic School, with the successful applicant being Inner West Community Foundation, trading as local impact. It also recommends that Council note the establishment of the Brimbank Youth Jobs Program 2024 to 2029 as a specialised initiative within the framework for the Local Jobs for Local People program. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Hill. Councillors, do we have any questions regarding this report? No? Okay. May I have a mover of a motion? Councillor Riley?
Madam Deputy Mayor, I'd like to move the motion as per the shared screen.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder of the motion? Councillor Borg?
I second the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor O'Reilly, would you like to speak to this motion?
Yes, Madam Deputy Mayor. One thing I wanted to note is the Brimbank Youth Jobs Program, which will include an annual implementation plan informed by ongoing engagement and co-design that sets out cross-council initiatives, external partnerships, and activities that strive to empower young people to lead, deliver services young people need to thrive, and partner and connect for greater impact. And I thought that was a really good thing to see. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. Councillor Borg?
Yes, I also want to highlight two items, and one of them is the one regarding the youth, the Brimbank Youth Jobs program 2024 and 29 as a specialized initiative within the framework of the Local Jobs for Local People program. This program will be very intensive, using a multi-pronged approach. As such, it is highly welcomed, considering the current job situation among youth. And perhaps I also want to make a quick reference to another item regarding the outcome of the expression of interest for the Glen Gala Traffic School. Pleased to say that the Inner West Community Foundation will be running the school and continue the great work established by its predecessor, Brimbank Bicycle Education Centre, which ran for so many years. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Would any other councillor like to speak to this motion? Okay, I'll put the motion to vote. All in favour? That motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, we're going over to item 12.8, which is the return of general valuation 2024 with Mr. Stormer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. This report asks Council to adopt the general valuation for 2024 for all rateable and non-rateable properties as made by the Valuer General, who is responsible for conducting valuations for properties. Importantly, it does not increase or decrease our overall rate revenue, but what it does do is it is the basis for how we distribute that rate across all properties in the city.
Thank you, Mr. Stormer. Councillors, do we have any questions regarding this item? May I have a mover of a motion? When you're ready. Mover of a motion? Yep. Thank you, Councillor Tarkos.
I move the motion as per.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder of the motion? Councillor Borg.
I'll second that, Madam Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Tarkos, would you like to speak to the motion? Thank you. Councillor Borg.
No, thank you, Madam.
Great. I'll put the motion to vote. All in favour? That motion is carried. Thank you. And 12.9 is a return of supplementary valuations 2023 to 2024, also with Mr. Stormer. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. So similar to the last report, this is also a valuation report conducted by the Valuer General, but this is for new properties that have come online in the last period. So there's about 630 properties that have come online, and this actually does add to our overall rate revenue.
Thank you, Mr. Stormer. Councillors, any questions for the Director? No? Great. May I have a mover of a motion? Thank you, Councillor Branton.
I move the motion as per screen.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Borg.
I'll second that, thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody like, oh, sorry, Councillor Branton, would you like to speak to that
No, thank
motion? No. Councillor Borg.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Put the motion to vote. All in favour? That motion is carried. Move to item 12.10, Glen Gala Road Village Streetscape Improvements. Mr. Levers, if you'd like to speak.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. This report presents a proposed streetscape plan for Glen Gala Village. The project's been the result of community feedback seeking improvements to the activity centre, and the project and the proposed design has been subject to consultation with significant community input. The plan seeks to improve the safety and amenity in a popular activity centre that has high traffic volumes in the order of 10,000 vehicles per day. The recommended design seeks to balance the competing needs and would widen the footpaths, install pedestrian crossings, increase plantings and make a better pedestrian and shopping environment without any net loss of car parking. We acknowledge the reliance of the centre on car parking and are conscious of the advocacy to retain car parking, and I'm pleased to say that the recommended option, which is enhanced option 1 in the report, retains the current car parking spaces or space numbers at least, whilst also achieving a range of other objectives, improving amenity and safety in the area. The enhanced design shown in the report builds on what was determined to be the preferred option during consultation, and the team has pragmatically amended the design to introduce some additional car parks to avoid any net loss of car parking in the precinct. The option responds to community feedback and delivers on improvements according to the project objectives. I recommend the report to Council.
Thank you. Councillors, do we have any questions for Mr. Levers? Councillor Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay. Yeah, I do note that there was a petition in May regarding the concerns of petitions about the loss of car parks. With the enhanced option 1, like, do you think that is enough to address their concerns about car park lots?
Through the Deputy Mayor, the petition didn't have the enhanced option 1, so there was a loss of car parking in the design options that we presented. I don't say that to suggest that people might not still like some additional car parking. We do know that the activity centre is very well used and there is a demand for car parking there. I don't think the design we've proposed will satisfy everybody, but I think it will satisfy the majority, and it does respond to the consultation feedback we had. So the option 1 of the consultation feedback was supported by the majority of respondents. What we've done since then is add some car parking. So again, whilst I don't think everybody will be satisfied, I do think the design option presented does strike the right balance and does reflect the feedback we received.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mr. Levers, councillors? No. May I have a mover of a motion? Councillor O'Reilly?
I would like to move an alternate motion as per shared screen.
Thank you, councillors. Do I have a seconder of the motion? Councillor Tarkos?
I second the amendment. Thanks, Madam Mayor.
Just confirm that's an alternate motion. Councillor Nguyen?
I would like to foreshadow a motion should this motion not pass. Thank you.
Yep, sure thing. Thank you. Okay, Councillor Riley, would you like to speak to the motion?
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Madam Deputy Mayor. Glen Gala Village is a vibrant and established local activity hub in Sunshine West, and there are a variety of services and shopping options to suit the needs of everyone. I would like to acknowledge and thank everyone involved in the consultation process. The main point of difference between the two proposed designs was the inclusion of a central crossing point at the centre of the village instead of additional parking spaces. I also want to note that there is currently a central crossing point at the village. According to level of support for design options detailed in the consultation report, the most popular choice was option 1 with 247 participants. This was followed by option 2 with 112 participants with 56 mentions of need more parking provided as reasoning for choosing option 2 over option 1. 80% of feedback was from the online survey, which required participants to select a preference for either design option 1 or option 2. A petition with 262 signatures was also presented to Council, objecting to the removal and reconfiguration of any parking spaces directly in front of shops. This indicates that there are still concerns in the community with the removal of spaces in the village that have not been fully addressed following the consultation process. In particular, the lack of spaces in closer proximity to these businesses will make it harder for the elderly and vulnerable peoples to access them, or less mobile residents to take shopping to their cars. And she may not be in a position to walk. The enhanced option presented today introduces 3 parking spaces in a street behind Glen Gala Village. However, they are also in close proximity to other community spaces and not directly in front of the shops. And the spaces in Simi Street that have also been added are also in front of a hall that is utilised by different community groups on a regular basis. The purpose of this amendment is to consult with the community an additional design that addresses these concerns, providing both the enhanced option and another option, one which builds upon the existing community feedback to create a greener, safer and pedestrian-friendly destination that balances with and maintains the number and configuration of parking spaces in the village. I ask my fellow councillors to support this alternate motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tarkos?
I'd just like to support and echo what Councillor O'Reilly said, and I think that a lot of these smaller shopping centres like Glen Gala, and I draw the similarity with Keilor, is that it is very highly reliant on parking spaces. The difference also with Glen Gala is there's been some issues with fires, etc. There's been a real low morale as well with those several shops that have shut down. I think now more than ever, these strip shopping centres are dying on the vine because people are not able to access them. And it's okay saying that there's car parking in the block behind, but those car parks get taken up by other usages as well, meaning there's even more limited spaces. So I totally support Councillor O'Reilly's amendment. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dang?
I have a question for the director. What is the cost involved into the changing for the design and the community consultant, please?
Sorry, Councillor Dang, do you mind repeating your question?
I want to understand what the cost involved in for changing the design and the community consultant. Thank you.
Thanks, through you, Mayor. Thanks for the question. There'd be a few things that we would need to do to enact the proposed alternate resolution. One would be to do some alternate visualisations of the design. Another would be to do some road safety audits based on the proposed design. I haven't costed the consultation, but it would take officer time and resourcing to do that as well. The design and road safety audit costs are relatively modest. I think we'd do those for under $5,000. I'm not sure about the cost of the consultation. It probably wouldn't be more than another $5,000. There would be a delay, of course, to the project and the implementation, and I'm not sure what that would mean. There's funding in this year's budget to commence the project, which may or may not occur depending on the time frame, because I think it would take us several months to be able to come back and bring a design back to council.
Thank you, Mr. Levers. Any other questions?
Another question to the director, and we gave the director too many questions tonight. Just to clarify, if we change to another option, will we cover the same sort of plan that we've got today, or be changes or not?
Yeah, through the Deputy Mayor. I think the result of and without having done the design, it's difficult to be definitive, but I think the impact of the alternate motion in terms of retaining the angled parking, it would prevent us from expanding the footpath, which was one of the things we were trying to achieve. It would likely prevent the median planting being installed. Part of the design proposal is to reduce the widths of the roadway, which calms the traffic and slows the traffic, but it also allows you space for increased footpath width and plantings in the median. I don't think those things would be possible based on a revised design that retains that angled parking. I'm also not, I think I'm right in saying it wouldn't address the traffic safety issues of cars reversing out from those angled parking, which was one of the things we're trying to address.
Thank you, Mr. Levers. Councillors, do you have any other questions? Councillor Borg.
It's not a question, but I would like to say that I have spent a lot of time thinking about this alternate motion.
Can we just wait for questions and then we can all speak to the motion? Is that okay? This is
Okay.
questions for Mr. Levers at this point.
Okay.
We'll get to just a minute. Thanks, Councillor Borg. Any other questions for Mr. Levers? No? Okay. Would anyone else like to speak? Oh, sorry. Yes. Would anyone else like to speak to the motion now? Sorry, Councillor Borg. You can speak now. Thanks.
Thank you. I have spent a lot of time thinking about this alternate motion, and I feel that I am not going to support it, considering the officer's advice and the implication that this alternate motion, would have on the project itself, as the director, Chris Lever, mentioned, especially with regards to the widening of the footpath and the amenities that go with it. It will go against the initial purpose of this project. So for that reason, or those reasons, I will not be supporting this alternative motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Borg. Councillor Nguyen.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I think I would like to thank previous councillors for asking the questions and for the director for answering them. That was very helpful. I'm of the opinion that I would like to speak against the proposed motion by Councillor O'Reilly. While I do understand the concerns raised about parking, I do believe that moving forward with enhanced option 1 is in the best interest of the community. It's important to note that the consultation process has been quite extensive. So there was 308 respondents, and there were 3 options. It was either to pick option 1, option 2, or neither. And the majority of respondents, 63%, supported option 1, because it addresses pedestrian and vehicle safety, but also the overall vibrancy. And then furthermore, our engagement with local traders also showed strong support for option 1. Of the 24 traders, 73% in the table in the attachments, it's 73.7% preferred option 1. So there's that too. But I do note there have been 260 petitioners who talked about the concerns about car parking, and just want to note that like officers did take into account the feedback provided by the community even after the consultation. So that's why they've come back with an enhanced option 1 to address those concerns, because it's noting here there's 124 publicly accessible car parks around the area, but also now the net loss between option 1 and option 2 has been addressed with the enhanced option. So it's still 22 for both enhanced option 1 and option 2. So that concern has been addressed with regarding the difference of why people preferred option 2 over option 1. And then thank you, Director Levers, for saying that according to their advice, like if we do retain the angled car parking, it's going to contradict the project objectives, which is to improve the wider footpaths, better crossings, safety. And furthermore, like there's an independent report saying that option 1 is the safer option. So and furthermore, like I think moving to create another option in addition to enhance option 1, it's going to delay the project even further. So in my opinion, in conclusion, overall, considering the facts and the advice given, I do believe enhanced option 1 provides a balanced and comprehensive solution that reflects the recent community feedback, but also aligns with our goals for a safer and greener and more vibrant Glen Gala village. So, but I have foreshadowed a motion in the case that this motion does not pass, because I'm supportive of a improvement to the Glen Gala village landscape. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Nguyen. Councillor Branton.
Yeah, if it was up to me and my preferences, there would be more car spaces, because I think I've managed to park on the outside the shops there once. But that's what's so valuable about the consultation that's been done, is that the consultation has shown that twice as many people prefer to have option, was it 1 as opposed to 2. So what I think makes sense to me isn't reflected in the consultation. The community prefers the other option. So that's what's so valuable about gathering this information. So I won't support the alternate motion, but I understand why people want that.
Thank you, Councillor Branton. Councillor Dang, did you want to?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. From the officer report that no net loss on the street parking space in the village, is only moved to other streets. And also echo to Director Lever, the widened footpath will provide more space for portable walking, especially for family with the strollers, people with wheelchairs, and elderly residents. And it create more inviting atmosphere for pedestrians, so it is ultimately benefiting for local businesses. And from the study that I've read, that the parallel parking can actually improve the traffic flow, and especially on the narrow street. As the driver don't need to back out into the traffic. So I'm sorry, I can't support the alternative motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dang. I believe every councillor has. Sorry, Councillor David, have you spoken to this? No?
More questions I want to speak about, clarify something,
sure.
Madam Deputy Mayor. The angle parking, they'll be losing 3 car spaces, and the officers providing another 6 now, so they won't lose any car parking at all. It's also the roundabout, which is a health and safety for people. The roundabout caused a lot of accidents because people making a U-turn, and it happened to me once. A young lady, he made a U-turn. I had the whole street clear, looking Glen Gala Road, and all of a sudden, bang. Fortunately for me, I had the tow bar, and she got damaged, but that was that. But I think if an improvement all around, that's what that shopping center wanted to have. And look, when I first heard of the changes and the improvements, I thought, oh, because they rang me the very next day. People rang me to say to me, they're taking their car parks away. And I rang the director straight away and explained to me what it was. But he also, I think the director, we all received a bit of an advice as to what's happening if we change any other ways at option one. So I'll leave it to that for the time being. Yeah.
Thank you, Councillor David. Councillor Riley, I believe you have a right of reply if you would like it.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor, and I appreciate everyone's input on this. And I know it's a lot. There's a lot of consultation that has been done. Yeah, I do echo. I do think I want to highlight what Councillor Tartos said as well, and also how this affects the traders too. And yeah, I know there's a lot of things that are exciting for Glen Gala Village coming up, particularly with in the consultation works, in particular the roundabout on the other end to make it safer. But I just wanted to highlight some of the feedback from the community that was popping up around car parking. There's a lot of people that rely on it too. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Reilly. I put the motion to vote. All in favour? That motion is lost. All against? Sorry, I should do all against. That motion is lost. Councillor Nguyen, I understand we have a foreshadowed motion.
I would like to move the motion as the officer's report on the
Great.
shared screen now.
Thank you, Councillor Nguyen. Do I have a seconder for that motion? Councillor Dang.
I second it.
Thank you.
Chair. Thank you.
Councillor Nguyen, would you like to speak to the motion?
I think more briefly, because we've spoken about it extensively in the previous motion, but as councillors and community, I'm just really pleased to see that there's been a recommendation to upgrade the Glen Gala Road Village streetscape through the improvements project. And this proposal, it didn't come out of nowhere. It's from extensive community engagement and thorough analysis, and it's focused on making Glen Gala Village safer, greener, and more vibrant. And like mentioned before, the consultation process has been quite extensive. I think it's amazing, like over 389 respondents from residents and 24 traders, 19 responded. The majority favoured option one. And then the main reason why there was concerns about option one was about, in comparison to option two, there was more car parking, but in response to that feedback, in regards to, there's been a petition that received which addressed the concerns about car parking. Our council has actually tried to address that by coming back with an enhanced option one to ensure there's no difference in terms of net loss for car parks between option one and option two. So not only do we have option one, which is safer, but there's no car park difference. So I think that's the best of both worlds. So I, as mentioned before, I would just say that I encourage our councillors to move forward with this project so we can have redevelopment of Sunshine West. And thank you. That's all.
Thank you, Councillor Nguyen. Sorry, who seconded the motion? Councillor Dang, would you like to speak to this motion? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Councillor Nguyen has covered it all. I understand that it's really hard for some business, some trader on the street, but I believe that for the majority of the community, and I hope the option one would make the community more vibrant and more people shopping in the area. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Dang. Would anyone else like to speak to this motion? If not, I put the motion to vote. Oh, Councillor David, you'd like to add something?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I think it's the best option, and indeed, I think Councillor Nguyen, Councillor Dang spoke about it. I spoke about the angle parking before. shopkeepers will not lose any car parking. They still have the car parking. Cars will park in front of their shops. It's only parallel now, not angle parking, because if it's not one accident a day, it's 3 accidents a week unleashed. As the reversing back, it's a bank all the time. So it's there all the time. That's what's happening in that little area there. So I think what we're putting together now, it be health and safety, and the roundabout coming up be extremely good for the people there. And they haven't lost any car parkings at all. We added another 6. So I think it's we should go ahead and do that. This is my
Thank you, Councillor David. Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? I put the motion to vote. All in favour? The motion is all against. The motion carries. Okay, item 12.11, contract number 213008, cleaning services, Brimbank Community and Civic Centre, extension of contract. Mr. Levers.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Mayor. This report seeks approval for a contract extension for building cleaning services for 2 years with Bogdan Investments. The value of the extension is approximately $900,000 over 2 years. Officers believe this presents good value to council. The report confirms that any subsequent extension of this contract would be via a future council decision, and there is one 2-year extension option remaining. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Levers. Councillors, any questions for the Director? No, may I have a mover of a motion? Councillor Kerr.
Move the motion as per the shared screen.
Thank you. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Tarkos.
Second the motion.
Thank you. Councillor Kerr, would you like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Tarkos. Thank you. Any other councillors like to speak to the motion? All in favour? That motion is carried. Thank you. Final item for our reports tonight, item 12.12, which is contract number 213092, fleet repairs, maintenance and supply of spare parts, extension of contract. Mr. Levers, thank you.
Thanks again, Madam Deputy Mayor. This report seeks Council's approval for the extension of a contract for fleet repairs, maintenance and supply of spare parts for a period of 1 year to 21st of December 2025. This is a schedule of rates contract for an estimated value of approximately $606,000, including GST. The report also seeks authority to extend by 1 year and delegate authority to the CEO to extend the contract a further year subject to satisfactory performance. The panel approach means we'll have the option to select from suppliers in different categories, meaning that we'll get the opportunity for best price and value for council. Officers have assessed this as providing good value to council, and I recommend it to you.
Thank you, Mr. Levers. Councillors, any questions for the Director? No? Okay, may I have a mover of a motion? Councillor Nguyen.
I'd like to move the motion as per shared screen.
Thank you. Seconder? Councillor Dang.
I seconded the motion. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Nguyen, would you like to speak to it?
Quite briefly, I think it's important that council can repair their fleets. I would recommend that we extend the contract. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Dang.
No, thank you.
Thanks. Anybody else like to speak to this one? No, I put the motion to vote. All in favour? Thank you. That motion is carried. Okay, we're going to item 14, which is notices of motion. We have no notices of motion this evening. Item 15, we have no notices of rescission. Item 16, urgent business. CEO, do we have any urgent business for this evening?
There is no urgent business. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 17, there are no items of confidential business this evening.
Madam Mayor, if I can take notice of that, to notice she's gone, but I think Councillor Margaret Jurichuk was here, and we should acknowledge her presence as a mayor of this Brimbank city, yes.
Thank you, Councillor David.
Thank you. I was looking back to see if it was here, but she's gone.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Thank you all for attending and for your interest in tonight's council meeting. I declare this meeting closed at 8:25 p.m. I would like to instruct Channel 31 to stop the live streaming of the meeting. Thank you.